Let's see how it is working. I'm gonna go and say, I don't know, what is, let's say, quantum physics. Let's ask this. It's gonna take a while. Okay, perfect. This is our answer. Let's have a quick look. It's saying that it's a study of the matter and energy, blah, blah, blah. It's saying something about Einstein and the theory of relativity, some stuff about electrons. And also at the end, as I told you, it's gonna provide you some key points and some summary as well. And in the end, we have our sources. So if the user wants to know more about it, can go through it, each of these websites that we are using. Hey everyone, Nariman here, welcome to my channel. Today we want to build our first AI agent with Deepseek. This agent will be an AI researcher. So the idea here is that this researcher will take an input. It can be a topic, it can be a question, and then it will search the whole internet to find information about it. After that, it will provide the user a very neat summary with like highlighted key points, the sources that it used in order to answer user's query. So I wanted to use a proper AI agent, like provide it with tools and do function calling, but turned out that this new Deepseek model still doesn't support function calling. So I'm going to use Langchain's LangGraph for this task to at least have clear states, because we are going to have a multi-step task. If you don't know LangGraph, it's one of the Langchain's tool. I can show you here. Yeah. Here you can see that LangGraph is a library for building stateful LLMs and like create agent and multi-agent workflows. You can read the documentation for it later, but today I will show you exactly how to work with it. So let's go ahead and see what dependencies we need. As always, I'm gonna use a Streamlit to create a simple UI for our application. If you are not familiar with a Streamlit, I have this video which explains you more in depth what is a Streamlit and what are some common components that you can use. And then we are gonna use lots of Langchain dependencies. We are gonna use Langchain core, Langchain community, Langchain Ollama, because we want to talk with Deepseek, and it's one of the open source models that is provided by Ollama. And as I told you, we are gonna use LangGraph to create a stateful agent. And at the end, I'm using Tavily Python. Tavily is an API that will provide you with search results. So you can pass your search query and get all the results that you want. I can actually show you their website. Yeah, as you can see, it is designed to be useful for LLMs. And the good thing about it is that it's free for 1,000 searches per month. So you can go ahead and get your own API key in their website. And as long as you are doing 1,000 searches per month, you don't have to pay for anything. So let's go back to the project. For setting up our project, we need to do a few steps. First of all, let me go to the terminal. Yeah, you need to install all these dependencies that I showed you. So pip install -r requirements.txt. And this will install all the dependencies that I mentioned. And the next thing is that I'm gonna use Deepseek R1 model. So I need to pull it from Ollama. I'm gonna say Ollama pull Deepseek R1. And then you can choose between a couple of versions. I'm gonna use 8B because I'm gonna run multiple prompts in one go, and 14B is a little bit too slow in this case. You can use smaller versions or bigger versions depending on your laptop. And as you can see, it is already pulled for me. The last thing is you need to add your Tavily API key as environment variable. So I'm gonna say export, and then you will write Tavili API key, all in uppercase, and then equal codes. And then inside this code, you will add your API key from Tavili website, which is something like this. You are just gonna copy this and then go to the command line and paste it inside these codes. I already did that. I don't need to do it anymore. Let's go back to our project and start coding. I already have some kind of project skeleton here. I will go back to this, but yeah, there are a few steps that we need to take. So first of all, the user is coming and he or she is providing you with a query. It can be a question, it can be a topic, like what is the weather today, or who is the CEO of OpenAI, anything. Our job is to search the internet properly, collect all the information, and then give the user a very neat summarized answer. So there are 3 important steps here. First one is very obvious. I'm gonna take the user's query, I'm gonna search the web with it and get the results. I'm gonna use Tavili as I told you. I'm gonna call it with the user query and it's gonna provide me with some results. So that's our first step. Second step is, okay, I'm gonna have lots of results, and these are like web pages, can be very long content, but I'm searching for a specific information, and also since I'm working with LLMs, I don't want to pass them long texts. So what I'm gonna do is ask Deepseek that please summarize each result. But since there is a danger of like losing information when I'm summarizing this result, I'm gonna say summarize this result, but pick the information that is necessary for answering user's query. At the end, I'm gonna have a couple of paragraphs that each of them more or less answers the user's question, but I'm gonna make a very connected answer from all of these. So I'm gonna join all of these texts together, pass it to LLM, and asking it to answer the question with this provided context. This is more or less like building RAGs, but without all the vector store and searching through vectors. Also, if you noticed, I have a clean text method here because, as you know, like these reasoning models have a part that they share with you how they are thinking. In this clean text method, I want to remove that phase because I don't need it. I don't need to show it to the user. I don't need it when I'm summarizing the text. So it's better to get rid of it. So as you can see, we have a multi-step task. That's where LangGraph is going to be very useful. I'm going to create a graph using this framework and then exactly specify each step, saying, okay, from the start, you will search the web, then you will summarize the result, then you will generate the response, and then you will show it to the user. So now that we have all our methods here, let's go ahead and create our graph first. Okay, let's go here. I'm going to create a state graph. And then my state, which I'm going to share between all these methods, is the research state, the class above that I will show you now. Let's go and see it. So this is my state. As you can see, I'm passing it to each of these methods. What it contains is the user query, the sources, the web results, and then the summarized results, and at the end, the response that we want to show to the user. When I'm writing the body of all these methods, you will see why we need all these fields. Just know that this is the state that I'm sharing between all of these steps. And we need 2 more things: our input and our output. Our input is pretty simple. It's just a query from the user. User is typing something and wants to know about something, and we are feeding this input to our graph. The output I want to show to the user is first, of course, the response. And then I also want to show the user the sources that we used to generate this response. Like we use Wikipedia, we use this news website, etc. So when we are building our graph, we pass the state and also the input and the output. So this will be the input, and the output also is our research state output. Let me break it down so you can see better. And we are gonna store this inside a variable. I'm gonna call it builder. Then, as I told you, it's exactly like building a graph. Our steps are our nodes, so I'm gonna add all the nodes. Builder, add node. First step is the search web. Then we have also the summarize results and generate response. And then we need some edges to see, okay, when you are done with the search web, you need to go to the summarize result. When you are done with the summarize results, you need to go to the generate response. So we need to create all these edges. And we have also two different states called start and end. That's how LangGraph would understand from where to start. So I'm gonna start with creating an edge from the start to the search web. Exactly like this. And then from the search web, we will move to summarize results. And then from the summarize results, we are going to generate response. And then there is another state. From generate response, we are going to the end. Like this. You can see that at the end, this is what we call our graph. Now I just need to compile my graph and then store it here. For now, we are done with our graph. Let's go and write the code, the body of our methods or steps. Here in the search web, we need first a Tawili client. In Langchain, it's called Tawili search results. I'm gonna make one of these. I'm gonna call it, I don't know, search, maybe. So by default, this client will return, I guess, 5 search results. I'm gonna, for this showcase, make it less, make it like 3 results, because the more we have the results, the longer it will take for me to generate a response, and I don't want that. But of course, the more results that you fetch from the web, the more accurate your answer would be. But for now, let's stick with 3. So I'm gonna say max results 3. All I need to do is invoke this search with our query. As you can see, we have a query field here in our research state. Also notice that these are all inheriting from typedict, because this class is basically a data class. I'm gonna treat it like a dictionary, but this typedict allows me to give precise types for each field. So we have this query here. I'm gonna access it like I'm accessing a dictionary field. It's state and then query, yes. And this is our results actually. I'm gonna call it search results. And that's it, guys. For this method, all we needed to do was this. And now I'm just gonna pass the new fields. Like we have search results, which contain our contents that we wanted to do, and also the sources. Like each Tawili search result will say, hey, this is the content, and I got this from this web page, like Wikipedia page or any other website. So we can fill this web results field and also sources field easily here. Let's do it. As I said, exactly like treating dictionaries, I'm gonna say sources and something like for results in search results. This will be, if I'm not mistaken, it should be URL. So this will be URL. So I'm gonna have a list of all the sources that we are using, and the web results is more or less the same. I'm just gonna copy this and then go here. This should be web results, and this one should be content. Yeah, so that's it. Very easy. For summarize results, I need a prompt. So I will create a template for it here. Maybe call it summary template. And then I actually have it prepared. I will just copy it and paste it here. This will be my prompt. As I told you, it's gonna say, summarize the following content into a very concise paragraph, but I don't want to lose information, so I'm gonna also pass the query and saying, keep the parts that are addressing this query, and just ensure that the summary is like having all the key points and is very clear and is very complete, stuff like that. So I'm gonna pass the query and I'm gonna pass the content and I'm gonna get a very good summary from it. For writing the code, I will need a chat Olama that is using Deepseek R1 8B. So my model is Deepseek R1 8B. This is my model. And then I need to create a prompt out of that template that I showed you. So again, chat prompt template from template, and then our summary template here would be used. I'm gonna also call this prompt, and then we are gonna create a chain. What we are gonna do is create a chain and then use pipe to connect this prompt with this model. And then we need to summarize each result one by one. And I'm gonna keep it in a list called summarized results. And then I'm gonna go through each content that I have. If you remember, we stored them in the web results. So I'm gonna use the web results. So I'm gonna call this chain on each of these. Our query is the query that we have in the state, and our content is the one that we are having here in the for loop. So it will look like something like that. The result of this is actually the summary. So this will be summary. But if you remember, I told you that these Deepseek answers would contain a think tag that contains all the process that the LLM is doing to find the result. I need to remove that from the summary. I don't want that. So let's go into the clean text. I'm gonna implement a regular expression. You can import the RE package and then say sup. And the pattern would be something like, there is think. It's like a HTML tag, yeah? And then the think would be closed. And then I'm gonna say whatever is between them, I don't want it, like this. And also maybe format this as R. So this is the pattern that I want to match, anything between these think tag. And I'm gonna replace it with nothing. And then we need to pass our text to it so it can process it. And we need one more thing. We need to add a flag called re.all, because this dot in regular expression usually doesn't match new lines, but I want to also match the new lines inside this think tag. So I'm gonna add this as well. This is our cleaned text, the result. I'm gonna just return this, but it's also good to call a strip on it, so the white spaces before and after it is also removed. So this will be a good clean text method, I would say. Let's call this one on the summary After each summary, I'm gonna call this one and call the content on the summary. I'm gonna call this maybe, I don't know, clean content. And this is something that I want to pass to summarize results. I'm gonna append it to summarize result. And at the end, notice that we have a field called summarize results in the state. So I'm gonna return it with this new information. Return, and then summarize result will be equal to the list that we already created. To generate the response, I also need a template. I'm gonna call it generate response template. I'm gonna put it here. I also already have a template that I can copy here. I will copy it here and I will tell you what is it about. It's saying that, okay, there is a user query and there are a bunch of contents here. I'm gonna pass it to you. Please generate a response that directly answers the query, and you need to use the relevant documents, and also ensure that response is clear, concise, well structured, and also extract the key points from it. So provide a brief summary from it. This will be the question, and this will be the context that we are gonna pass. Actually, some part is more or less the same. I can copy from here, and I'm gonna paste here. Creating the content is also very easy. I have a bunch of summarized text. I'm gonna join them using 2 new lines. And then I'm gonna go over each summary, and this will be my content. Very easy. All I need now is to return the response. My response would be the invocation of this chain. I am using this new template. Actually here it should be generate response template. So I'm gonna invoke this template using the user's query and the content that I just created, and this will give you the user's response. So that's it. That's our steps, our logic, and we are already building our graph. All we need to do now is to create a simple UI using a Streamlit. I'm gonna go and say Streamlit.title. This is like an AI researcher. And then I'm gonna get the user's query with a simple text input. Maybe I will also add here interior research query. So if there is a query, what we need to do is first invoke our graph with the user's query. That will put the query inside the researcher state input and kickstart all the process in the graph. This will give us the response state. As you can see, like if you remember, we had a class called research state output. So that's what we are gonna get, sources and response. So let's go here. I'm gonna write the response and then content. This should give us the response that we are looking for. But let's also clean the text. I don't want all those think tags. So let's call on this the clean text method. That's it. And I'm gonna say here is our sources. I'm gonna like loop over each source. And write each source. Yeah, here it should be in. So that should be enough. Yeah, we are showing the user the text that we generated, and at the end we are gonna show the user all the sources that we used. Looks good. So let's go ahead and run it and see if it's working as we expected. I'm gonna go back to the command line that we had. I'm gonna remove this. We need to say Streamlit run and then our file. This is in the AI researcher folder. Just like this. Yeah, looks good. Let's run it. And then let's go to the browser. Let's see how it is working. I'm gonna go and say, I don't know, what is, let's say quantum physics. Let's ask this. It's gonna take a while. Okay, perfect. This is our answer. Let's have a quick look. It's saying that it's a study of the matter and energy, blah, blah, blah. It's saying something about Einstein and the theory of relativity, some stuff about electrons. And also at the end, as I told you, it's gonna provide you some key points and some summary as well. And in the end, we have our sources. So if the user wants to know more about it, can go through it, each of these websites that we are using. So yeah, that was it, guys. I hope you enjoyed watching this video. We were able to create our first Deepseek AI agent together. This agent can be more complicated. For example, you can add more states to this graph. Let's say you cannot find the results in the first page. You can add another state to go back and see if the answer is actually correct or not, and then fetch more results, summarize the results, and then generate the response again. Or you can add a first state to even extract very good keywords for web search from the user's query, so the results will be more effective. But for this video, I just wanted to show you a very simple workflow. And now that you know how to work with LangGraph, work with Deepseek, you can go ahead and create your own agents. Please like this video and also subscribe me for more content like this. See you around.